Welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. In today's video, I'm gonna do a wrap-up of the year 2025. We're about 5 hours or so from New Year. So I thought to shoot a video on 2025, mostly about my health and productivity journey in 2025, and hopefully it will be also maybe useful to you, my learnings from this year. So before getting started, nothing I share in this video or on the channel is medical advice, so always do your own research before making any health related decisions. So 2025, yeah, it was a pretty big year for me. 2024 was probably the most productive year, and it's the year where I passed from being a nomad to the sedentary life. And 2025, it was more like assessing my sedentary life, second year in business. So it's like 2024, it was like, a lot of change. You have that honeymoon period, like that's when I discovered Paraguay and started a business and quit the nomadic life. And 2025, it was more like the reality, making progress with the decisions I took in 2024. So there's a tool I use, it's called Cortex. I'm not endorsed or anything, but it's a tool I use. It's from Danko. I don't know if you're familiar with him. It's an interesting guy. Check it out if you don't know him. But he came up with this software named Cortex, and I use it for almost everything. I mean, to capture ideas, to have a a checklist. Everything you need to put kind of on writing. It's a great tool, and it's free. And so one of my Cortex documents is like I put my goals, my goals on the last day, usually of the year. I put my goals for the upcoming year, and I put like the little checkbox, And so I looked at my goals for 2025, and it looks like I accomplished some of my goals. Most of my goals, I accomplished them partially, and some of my goals I did not accomplish at all. Quite the opposite. And it's interesting. So I'm not going to go in detail all my goals, but one of the goals that I had for 2025, it was with fasting. Since in 2024, on top of my 18-6 intermittent fasting, I was able to fast for an extra 67.5 days. So it's more than 2 months of fasting, of skipping my OMAD. So usually the way I counted, once I do a 36-hour, I counted a 1.5 day, and after the 48-hour mark, counted 2 days. And the 18-6, I don't count it. And one of my goals for 2025 was to fast more than 67 days. And in reality, I did the quite opposite. because I fasted for, if I remember it correctly, for 18 days, 18 point something days. So it's like, more than like 3 times less, of fasting. And that gave me a clue of, this year being, it felt less productive, but also I had bigger challenges. So it's not like I goofed off or anything like that. Like, I think the energy I put in was maybe even more, but it was less productive, less like drastic changes, less maybe, in a way, less successful. But success is something that, first of all, it's relative, and it's something you build. And sometimes you need those months and years where it feels like nothing is happening, but then you'll be building on top of that. So it might just be that the things that I've accomplished in 2025, maybe I harvest the how do you say that? Like I get the benefits like later on, maybe in 2026 or later. But something that the clue for me was that, like just fasting less is I think it affects directly my productivity, because in 2024 there were some weeks that I would skip like 3 OMADs per week, and I remember on those nights that I would not eat. You end up with a lot of times in your hand, a lot of time in your hand where it's a direct benefit, like because you don't have to cook, you don't have to do the dishes, you don't have to go to the grocery store. And I was mostly, since I was writing my book, but you write, you do, So there's that aspect. And then the next day, usually when you're fasting, you haven't eaten the night before. Also, you have like lots of mental clarity. And then you're also motivated because you're going to be breaking your fast that night. So it's for somebody like me who's accustomed to fasting, it's a huge plus, because you take advantage of, it gives you more hours at night to be productive. And next day, even though it doesn't give you directly hours, you have more mental clarity, motivation, energy, and all that. So I think that's a clue. Like I didn't fast as much, and but on the other hand, I did the carnivore for 3 months. I did the carnivore diet for 3 months, and that was really challenging. And I also see it as a little bit like I see it as sort of a fast, and I think it did me a lot of I got a lot of benefits out of it. So it makes me feel a little less bad about the 18 days, because that was like really challenging, and my skin cleared up, and I had some oxalate dumping and all that. So it was a good health investment, I think, even though very, very challenging. So another thing that I experienced lately with fasting less is that, and that made me more empathetic with the people who are maybe new to fasting, or they're maybe having a hard time, getting their feet wet with the fasting, is that on certain days I was just like, oh, I'm going to fast today. And one will come like, around 7 and 8 o'clock, usually when I eat, change my mind and eat anyway. So like kind of starting finding comfort in eating, you know. And I had a really good appetite. So like usually I listen to my body, and so I'm like, see if my body wants to eat, is enjoying food, you know. Because usually you like I'll plateau, you know, you fast, and you know you get all the tune-ups. Your body does its tune-ups, and then after a while, if you're not fasting, you'll lose steam. That's how I'll experience it, and that will be the signal to fast again. And yeah, lately I wouldn't get that signal, and I'll be quite hungry and eat and find comfort in food. But that means, like, you know, you gotta go do the grocery shopping, and then cook, and then digest. That's where also like I waste a lot of time. It's after eating, you know, like I eat once a day, and after eating, like that's when I do the whole everything that doesn't require a brain, like social media and stuff, like, because I'm not like, I don't have that spark like to right after eating, like to do some work, you know. And sometimes I play my guitar and stuff, but even though the fingers are working, like it's not the most inspired moment. Like, I really think that, you know, like digestion takes a lot of energy from elsewhere, and so yeah. So for 2026, somehow I have to rethink my fasting strategy, and yeah, I think fast more. I don't know if it's fasting more or fasting differently, but I just think that also in 2025 I turned 50, and even though it's just a number, and you know my 40s were better than my 30s, yeah, it did something to me. Like turning 50, I don't know if it's psychological or yeah, this year I got sick twice, you know. I mean, it could also be that because I've been fasting less, but yeah, in July I got like a flu or something, and it had been like 14 months of me not getting a cold, you know. So somehow I got that, and then I went to, in November, late November, I went to Colombia, and I got some, like the first 3 days I was fine. Then I got something, I don't know what it was, but I stayed in bed for a week. It's really like my organs were hurting, sometimes to the point where I could not sleep, and I could not. It was really weird. I had to walk inside of the house because my kidneys will hurt, and if I lay down it will be worse. And so the most like bearable moment was like when I would walk. And since I started fasting, no, it was a little bit later. In 2016 I started fasting, and in 2018 I quit like medicinal drugs, and it did me a lot of good. But on this occasion, like the pain was really, yeah, it was really painful. So I did use some painkillers, which was like something kind of unheard of for me for several years. But it's just that I could not fall asleep. Like it was really hurting my body. And then I even ended up, I think it was on the fifth day, I even scheduled an appointment with a doctor. To almost all costs, like I tried to avoid seeing a doctor, but I was just like, man, what's going on? But somehow I booked the doctor's appointment, and next day I start feeling better. So I called him. I was like, I mean, can I still cancel if I feel better? And then next day I felt better and I canceled. So I ended up not going. to the doctor's appointment, but yeah, it was. So I don't know if it's related with fasting or not, but it's yeah. Again, it's like a little. Yeah, I was not getting even during like the 2020. You know, like I was traveling. I'd always like that famous year where like I didn't get anything. And lately in 2025, yeah, like twice. The first time too, I was almost like it wasn't a complete week, but I was like 4 or 5 days I was in bed. And so maybe it has to do something with fasting less, because I believe that each time we fast, you know, we do that retuning, you know, the body, and it keeps you more resilient, you know. And but it could also be maybe the age thing, you know, like I mean, at one point, because it was kind of weird for me, because I started fasting in 2016, so it's gonna be 10 years, and then I got so much benefit out of fasting that, you know, the curve of, you know, getting old and the curve of feeling better, I mean, I think feeling better thanks to fasting outweighed the curve of getting old, you know. But of course, it's not going to last forever. You know, it's like I'm not going to feel younger and younger as time goes by. But I mean, I really got a kick out of my 40s. You know, the last 10 years, it was just like, wow, more energy, more like better sexual life. Yeah, like feeling great and doing more, and going to the gym every day, and living a nomadic life. Yeah, that could also be something, you know, like the passing from a nomadic life to a sedentary life. So when I say sedentary, it's not, sometimes they use it for, you know, overweight people and stuff. Like, I mean, within my sedentary life, I'm pretty active, but it's mostly like, yeah, not being a nomad for me. The thing is, like, being nomad, it kind of like, it keeps you alive, you know. It's definitely a challenge, but you always, you know, like, you, like, I'd always like have to keep track of the weight of my backpacks, and you know, you always get rid of the things you don't need, and then you're always moving. So you know, when you're in Baja California or Sinaloa, you're eating a lot of seafood. Then you go to Sonora, you eat great meat, or here in Paraguay, and then, you know, like sometimes you're near to the ocean, so you walk barefoot on the sand, and you get all those like minerals like from the sea. So in a way, without you even like trying too hard, you get that balance, you know, that balanced diet and balanced life, because you're moving, you know. And I will always get, you know, for example, when I'm in Colombia, I will get berries because they're accessible, they're cheap. For example, like here in Paraguay, berries are, first of all, they're imported, they're super expensive, and they're not good. Like, so I just don't eat berries like when I'm in Paraguay, but I eat like organ meat, I eat bones, I eat, you know, meat, all those things, because they're great here. So it could be also, yeah, I mean, 2025, maybe less fasting, more of a sedentary life versus the nomadic life. And also turning 50, that could have an effect. But yeah, I kind of want to fight against that. I don't want to give up. on feeling young and feeling that everything is still possible, and well, at least the idea, and yeah, don't relate to my physical age. So I want to keep that fight, but at the same time, I cannot ignore the reality, the results, and all that, like what I'm getting out of life, and I mean, if I'm reaching my goals or not. And so for 2026, I was more. I put more thought into my goals. I mean, you have two schools of, sometimes it's good to have, even if you don't reach your goals, putting goals that are like challenging you, that way you push yourself. But then also it feels good to have some realistic goals and to reach them. But the idea is not to feel good, is to make progress. So yeah, I mean, there are two schools of thought for that, but like, it's just that I just realized that I had too much on my plate. I have too much because I have an online business with two brands. I have my musical career. In 2025, I started investing in real estate as a business in Paraguay. Not just, those are not investments like so I can have my own apartment. It's more like to generate money in Paraguay. And so it's I want to produce some music, and within music, just music, you have to pick your battles too, because if you want to play live, you have to run the set. If you want to put out albums, like, you have to, first of all, collect ideas, record them. Yeah, it's a lot, like, it's, yeah, a lot of things at the same time. So I kind of like picked my battles, like not giving up on anything, but put, like, I was like, what's the most important for each. So basically I have finances, personal finances, I have health, I have relationships, what else I have, business, then I have music. So under each header, I put the most like significant goals. But I think last year I went a little overboard. Lots of goals and lots of and goals that were like maybe unrealistic of accomplishing all those things in only 1 year. And also, yeah, I got challenged. Like, it's I had to go back to my country for over 2 months, and I kind of made me lose momentum with my online businesses and what I was doing in Asunción. And it shouldn't, right? Like, because before I was a nomad. I was a nomad, and it worked well. The lesson learned is just that, yeah, when you're a nomad but you go back to your own country, it's different, because you have things to take care of over there, and it's like, yeah, it was challenging, and it was for some reason it was difficult to focus on business, online business, even though I had everything. I mean, all you need is an internet connection, technically. But it's just also being a citizen of two different countries. So I'm a citizen of Turkey and Switzerland, and I had to take care of like all the logistics and to bring my stuff back and liberate some apartments there. Like, yeah, it was yeah, it was a challenge. And also, yeah, at that point I was in a relationship. That's also another thing. In 2025, what happened to me is like I was a happy man going their own way. And in June, 3rd of June, I met a woman. We fell in love, love bombing and all that. And while I was in Europe, like something bad happened to her family, and that affected her life in a negative way. And somehow, yeah, I think I wasn't present. I mean, I wasn't physically, but then also how I tried to support her with my own personal culture. Didn't register, like I think she was expecting something else. And I think in her head, she went, oh no, that's not the guy for me. And then when I came back, it was really, I mean, the relationship kind of continued for 3 more months, but it was always, yeah, getting kind of worse. And then I called it quits, you know. So now it's been 2 months, like a strict no contact. And so that was also a chapter, something that has to be lived. So I'm back to men going their own way. Yeah, I mean, even though it was like kind of heartbreaking experience, I think I learned a lot, and it made me grow. It made me see how things are. I mean, the whole dating thing has changed so much, you know, because I don't know, I kind of, for the past 10 years, I think naturally I went little by little, men going their own way without realizing it. And I think now it's like, I just learned, you know, like this whole like passive aggressive behavior with WhatsApp, and you know, even though I see your message, I don't read it, and I read it but I don't respond, and all those things I was so, I mean, unaware of. I mean, for me it's just so childish and so, yeah, I wouldn't even think, you know. Sometimes, like, I mean, what I do with my online communication is like sometimes, yeah, there are conversations and people that, you know, like I don't respond. I see that they wrote me, but maybe it's a friend from Turkey. We're only chatting about soccer. Well, I'm not going to respond to that message first thing in the morning, because I want to keep that productive juice for other things. So like, you know, there's nothing wrong like managing your social interaction online. I mean, certain things are going to have more priority than others. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But when it becomes like a passive aggression tool, it's just sad. Like, just sad. Just yeah, I think people should express. You know, they should express, and if they've lost interest in the relationship, just say, you know what, I just want to move on. And I mean, I'll be the first one to understand that. You know, it's like for me, it's like it's out of the question to be with someone who's not interested. You know, it's just like life has so much to offer. Life has, you know, I'm involved in so many like great projects. Like for me, I mean, the relationship is not gonna be great. Like, yeah, I really don't care. I mean, it's a waste of time. So, and the reason why I got involved in a relationship, because it was out of this world. It was like extraordinary. And now I'm just discovering this park. I think I don't know if they renew it or something, or yeah, it's really nice. So it's pretty close to where I live, so could be there's a soccer field, but it's soccer on concrete. It is something, and there's some, yeah, I could do some grounding here. Yeah, there's yeah, let's see, because I kind of got lost to get here, so I don't know how far it is from where I live, but it's really nice. So yeah, in Paraguay it's summer, you know, so it's still yeah, all the time. I lived in Paraguay and Argentina, Uruguay. I mean, it's reversed the seasons, so a couple times a year it's really hard to get used to for me. Like my birthday, end of July is my birthday, so for me it always you know, birthday means summer, so it feels weird when you know, you have to put a jacket on and it's cold and all that. And also, yeah, Christmas, and you know, it's like 40 degrees Celsius, and they still have like Christmas trees and stuff. Like, it kind of feels for somebody who grew up in Switzerland, so it's yeah, even though I know, I mean, it's been 10 years it's been 10 years I've been in Latin America, but sometimes I was on the northern hemisphere, sometimes south, sometimes the equator. And that equator thing, like in Colombia, I don't understand, like, because I think the country is kind of on both sides. Yeah, I have to look that up, but when I'm in Medellin, like it feels like they have the same, they refer to the seasons as the southern hemisphere, but technically Medellin is north of the equator. So yeah, I don't, like, I mean, I understand that. I mean, it doesn't really change much, the weather there, but they do have a wet and a dry season. But just mentally, how do they relate? Yeah, it was very confusing for me. I should know, I went there 6 times, but because lately I was there and it was the rainy season. So it feels more hot when it's like the European summer, but yeah. So yeah, 2026. Yeah, silence, because yeah, what's stressing me out about a little bit about 2026? It's actually nothing nothing personal, you know. It's not like, it's not on a personal level that I feel. It's just the world. I mean, since 2019, I mean, we kind of, after, I mean, it feels like 2019 was the last normal year, you know. And then he went on a different dynamic, you know. Like it's like there's this feel of the end of the days, you know, end of time, kind of 10 minutes to midnight, 5 minutes to midnight, kind of. And I don't know if it's just like manipulation, or, I mean, something is definitely changing. But also, you know, like we are kind of being manipulated, purposefully or not, by the media channels, you know, social media, regular media. And there's one thing I've noticed is that well, when you live in a place like Paraguay, well, if you turn off YouTube, I already turned off TV in 2002. If you turn off YouTube, I mean, there is no stress. I mean, it's just, that's also why, like, I kind of get motivated to generate like income in Paraguay, because I mean it seems it's a different reality. I mean, if everything goes south, you'll probably be affected, because I mean everything is somehow connected in the world, you know. So if there's like something really major, it will be affected. But it's a very like resilient country, you know, because they have their own currency and it's stable. You know, that's huge. And then they have they produce cheap electricity. Materials are cheap. They produce way more food than they consume. Way more like electricity than they consume. So and they have huge amount of water. So you have water, you have electricity, you have food, and then the construction materials and all that, they're cheap, and you have a strong, well, I shouldn't say strong, but maybe stable fiat currency. Yeah, it's a good recipe for resilience, and geographically you're far away from the nuclear powers, you know, and the tension areas, and you don't have any risk of natural catastrophes, you know. There's no earthquake, you're not near the ocean, so you don't have all the weather related I mean the only thing that can happen here is like heavy winds and heavy rain. That happens, but I don't think to the point where, you know, it will create like a catastrophe, you know. So yeah, so the one feels really safe in Paraguay with regards to where the world is going. But one thing I learned, because I moved from Europe, like I was sensing that it was going south, like already like 2015, 2016, you know. And in 2017, I put my act together to leave. And the thing is, like, leaving is not, it's just the first step, you know. It doesn't solve all the problems, you know. Say you're in a country where it's like there's like social tension, and you feel like you'll be wise to get out of there, you know, and you manage to get out of there, which the thing I did like 10 years ago. But that's just the first step, like, because then you have to survive wherever you go. And in my case, I did back then I was going back and forth of, oh yeah, everything's gonna go down, you know, everything's gonna go south. And sometimes I'll be more optimistic, maybe not right away. So I've chosen to be nomad and, you know, travel and all that, and which was great. And also it gave me like the vision to choose the best place for myself. So no regret there. But the thing is, like, all those years when I was like nomad, well, you don't build. Well, you learn the language, you get used to many things. I mean, but you don't build something specific, you know, in a specific area. And now in Paraguay, they always ask me, how long have you been in Paraguay? So yeah, it's gonna be 2 years in March. But I've been on the continent. It's gonna be, actually I'm gonna make a video for that, like the 17th of January. It's gonna be my 9th year on the continent. So yeah, so all that to say that, you know, just to become an immigrant, an expat, how you want to call it, it's the first step, like to leave. I mean, the first step is like to cut ties with wherever you were. That's the whole project. It's not as easy. For me, it was like, you have to pay all your taxes. You have to get, you've accumulated a million useless things all over the years, and your insurance and this and that. Like it's like that's already like it's not it's something. It's a project. Then you have to choose wherever you want to go, and then you have to go there and make sure that you're happy. And all those things are not easy. Like the first place I chosen was Buenos Aires, Argentina, and then I realized that it wasn't a place for me, to live long term. Then I visited a lot of places. I felt good, but to find the place where you're 100%, it took me it took me from 2017 to 2024 until I met Paraguay, and now it's gonna almost be 2 years, and so far so good, but my opinion might change too. But it's a great. I feel like it's more of a marathon relationship with Paraguay. It's good enough that I see myself here long term, because you have more like flashier like places, but then it gets old for me. All those judgments are personal, or you feel like you will never like get socially accepted at 100%. And all this, like I'm talking about Latin America, even though it might seem like, oh yeah, minus Brazil, they all speak Spanish, and once you get used to one country, you're good. But it's not like that. It's very different. Like every country is different, and a country like Mexico, I lived in 23 cities and Mexico, and the cultural differences within Mexico, it's which makes me think today of Mexico. When I think of Mexico, it's more like a continent. You have to see it as something the size of Western Europe, like kind of, with all the cultural differences. Well, it's one country, but they have a lot of cultural differences. So so it's like to leave where you're from and going to, like build a new life somewhere else. It's like there are a lot of steps, and the thing is, like, I'm personally lucky or unlucky. It's just that at the age of 7, I had to move out of my country of origin. Then with my family, we went to Switzerland, and then in '99 I went to the US. I lived over a decade there, then came back to Switzerland 6 years, and then went to Latin America. And so in a way, it's like that muscle of adapting to the new places. I have it trained. And sometimes I see it, like, because here I'm able to meet like people from North America, people from Europe, and sometimes they express feelings like they like it enough here because they're here, but they're sometimes complaining, and I don't see it. I'm like, well, what are they complaining about, But I have to remind myself that, probably like my past, my profile, it's I think it's getting more and more common, with the new world. But I think with somebody with my age, you lived in so many places and you speak several languages and stuff, so you my guess would be that you're more trained to embrace change and adapt, you know. So that's also something to think about, because if you're already in your 40s or 50s and you want to move out of Europe or something like, and you've never, maybe you haven't traveled that much, and yeah, it's pretty challenging, like that whole moving to a new place. And you know, and more I pursue this adventure, it's still, you know, like, in order it to be complete, I mean, there's a lot of stages, and it's not it's not easy. And even when you complete all the stages, you know, say that you moved out, you find the place that you really like, you've built your, you know, you learned the language, you have a social circle, then you're able to generate money there and all that. But at end of the day, still something from your home country, or you might still not feel 100% complete, you know. So it's a challenge, and I think it's if you're a type of person that kind of enjoys all those like steps, all those stages, I think it's good. Like, I think you have to embrace adventure, and not hesitate to change gears, change plans. I don't know why, like, I'm seeing videos of other Turkish people that I know. For some reason, we are like a lot of us, when we decide to move to Latin America, we go to Argentina. I don't know if it's because of Armando Diego Maradona or not. It's hard to understand, or because they have this like you know, Osmanians like architecture. It looks a little bit like Europe, or I don't know what it is, but I see a lot of Turkish people, and me too. Like, when I first moved to Latin America, like I was even thinking that Argentina will be more advanced than Turkey. Then I realized that in 2017, that for certain things, not everything, but it's 30 years behind. It was. And now that I have a good grasp of Latin America, it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest place to migrate to, you know. It offers a lot, like, you know, I think to get citizenship is fairly easy. I mean, there are certain things, you know, but it's, I mean, now, like, with all the places I know, at least I'm gonna speak for Buenos Aires. I wouldn't live there. Like, it's, I mean, there are better places for me. That's total personal, not putting any, you know, objective judgment, but for me it's it happened to be Paraguay. It's really, for me, it was really difficult to beat Paraguay. There might be better places, but I think one needs more money, I think, for the other places that I know. I think you need more resources. Wow, there's the sunset, the last sunset of if you can see it, last sunset of 2025. That feels nice. Like, I'm gonna walk a little bit like that. I love doing some sun gazing. I mean, the image is a little weird. It makes the image a little weird, but all that to say that I'm really confident about where my life is going. I think I made the right choices. I took a lot of time to get where I am. Like, all this, everything I've accomplished could have been accomplished like faster. But what's making me nervous and doubtful, it has nothing to do directly with me and my projects, but it's the world. Like I'm little yeah, I mean, everything can happen. I was feeling that way end of 2024 too, and 2025 it was okay. Nothing super major happened. I mean, a lot of things happened, but it's not like, you know, the world ended that day, that year. So hopefully 2026 be a good year. I mean, it's all relative, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I really want to be able to be autonomous. Well, autonomy is also something very relative, but being able to generate money in Paraguay and having the luxury to, if I'm fed up with the news from my home country or from Europe or the United States, while being able to having the luxury to, you know, shut off, having the luxury to shut off YouTube and just live with the Paraguayan reality, you know, because yeah, it's a different dynamics here, and they're like, one feels more in control, because when you live in Turkey, I mean, something happens in Syria, it makes you nervous. Something happens in Iran, it makes you nervous. Something happens in Palestine, it makes you nervous. Something happens in Ukraine, Russia, like it's like you're in the middle of like a lot of like tension, you know, geopolitically, and you cannot be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna focus on my life and my you know, on my diet and my professional life. I mean, that's a luxury, like to, and also people get because I try to, like, you know, like, so things, they don't affect me, but then you have something that happens, you know, you know, some of the military personnel get unalived, or you cannot be like, oh, that's not my life, and, you know, like, people will be, if you're not mourning that, they'll be pissed at you, you know, because there's that idea of, you know, like, it's a real country, and also if you live there and you're able to sleep at night peacefully, it's because of those, you know, military personnel, the policemen and all that. So you cannot be, well, everybody does his job and everybody their problem. You cannot be individualistic like that. So each time there's an event like that, like a negative event, it affects your life, you know. It affects your life, but you have to pay rent and you have to get your things done. So it's like, it's and I think it makes it even more difficult for somebody like me, because I was there only until the age of 7, you know. So then you know, the 15 next years, like, I lived in Switzerland, which is like a really peaceful country. It was, I mean, now Europe is getting also a little, back then, I mean, I remember in Switzerland, like, I mean, a cat will be, you know, stuck on a tree or something, it will be in the news, you know, like, there's so much nothing happening that, you know, it was just like the most peaceful, safe place, like, so yeah, like, to be able to just live with the Paraguayan reality, with a lifestyle that is, I mean, that's another challenge. It makes me think of something else. That, you know, like you look at the prices, you look at minimum wage and all that, and you're like, wow, you know, like I think it's like about $350 or something in Paraguay, and then you're like, wow, so with $350 I can live there. Like, well, yes and no. It's probably no, because what they don't tell you is that the people who are making minimum wage in those Latin American countries, they probably live with 12 other people, you know, where they live. And they already have a structure, like a family structure, that of solidarity, you know. It's not like with $350 they have their little studio and they go to coffee shops every day, and you know, it's not like that. So the thing is, like, if you want to have a lifestyle that is close or better than where you're from, it will definitely cost less than where you're from. If you're from the US, or definitely if you're from the US or Europe, it will definitely cost you less, but it's way more, you know, way more than yeah, for example, like say you're from the suburbs of Southern California, and then you want a similar lifestyle in Medellin, Colombia. Well, you can make it happen with $2,500 a month, have like to live like a king. But that means almost like 10 times minimum wage. Like, so you have to make 10 times more than minimum wage of that country you're going to. So those are things to think about. That's when you're thinking about moving, you know, it's like the numbers are one thing, but what's going to be a reality? And in places like Colombia, like maybe you'll get like in Medellin, maybe in the hood, maybe there is a place where you'll pay only $100 a month. But would they let you live there? You know, that's another, you know, depending on the culture and stuff, if you go live in low-income areas. But first of all, you might not want to live there for safety reason. But also they might not. If you don't know anyone, there are neighborhoods that they don't want you there. Or they're going to let you live there, but you're going to have to do something for them, you know. So those are all things to consider. Well, it's going to be a pretty long video again. Yeah, almost an hour. So if you watched it so far, huge thank you. So before wrapping the year and wrapping this video, my outlets are, I'm a fasting coach. So you can book time with me for a call. It can be on fasting. It can also be on other topics. If you're thinking about moving to Latin America or something, so you can book some time with me. If you live in the US, I have a electrolyte powder that I sell. It's called Fasting Electrolytes. It's great for as a pre-workout drink. If you're on a ketogenic diet, if you're on a carnivore, really good product. I'm using it every day. It really changed my life since I'm using it. So my brand is called Youth Light. So you can order it if you live in the US. My third outlet is I'm a musician. So I have a band called Black Sea Storm. So if you feel like checking out my music, I have several albums on pretty much all the major platforms. I also put the links below, along with other bands I played in. And lastly, something fairly new that I started this year. I got into real estate by investment on plan, and so far it's going really well. So I've been investing in properties with the goal of making money with them, like renting or reselling So if that's something you're interested in, I can also share my experience on real estate in Asunción. I wouldn't even say Paraguay, because so far all my investments are in Asunción. So those are my outlets. I'll leave all the links below. And thank you for watching the video. I hope 2026 is going to be a great year for all of us, and hopefully we'll be able to break that negative energy that's been happening since 2020, you know. Because like before, I used to look forward to New Year's Eve and celebrate and stuff, and now I just even though I'm really happy with my life and all that, but with everything that is happening in the world and stuff, like it's really, one doesn't feel like celebrating, you know, like the New Year, you know, with all the wars and suffering and all the, especially in the West, like everything going kind of downhill, like it kind of doesn't puts you in a party mood. Even though I'm on a personal level, day to day, I'm the happiest person. So if I'm, you know, being selfish and all that, like I'm really happy with life in general. But when we start thinking for bigger communities, like it's not going as well. And so like I really hope that there's like, we're gonna break that negative cycle and go into something more positive as like humanity and as the world. very you know, I mean, it's easier than said than done, but I think it's possible. I think we have everything. We actually have everything we need. It's just that we have, like, it has to be managed better at a high level, and I think there is enough for everyone. That's my belief. Have a great New Year's Eve, if I'm able to upload this video before New Year's Eve, and have a great start of 2026. Thank you for watching.